Klingenfield, professor of psychology, licensed clinical psychologist. In today's show, I'm going to give you a definition of psychology. And we're also going to move from a definition of psychology to the major research methods psychologists use in order to obtain data about cause-effect relationships, my friends. Yeah, I hear you. About cause-effect relationships. And I will give you a thrill and a chill without a pill as I did at Fayetteville. Dr. C, the master of teaching philosophy, you think I won't faze you, but I'm going to shock and amaze you. I will wear different colored jackets. Sometimes I'll put on the pink because I need to think. Sometimes I'll wear the red because I don't want the class to be dead. Sometimes when I want to be lean and mean, I'll put on the green. And sometimes when I really want to be chilled and mellow, then I'm going to wear the yellow. I am funny, but I am no clown. There may be times I even put on the light brown. So I have flamboyant. I'm flamboyant, I'm charismatic, I'm dynamic, I'm exciting, I'm a thrill and a chill, and you listen, and you make your judgment by the end of the semester. Sometimes I may wear a sport coat so bright that you may need to wear sunglasses. I warn you, it may be so colorful it just will burn your eyes out with the coat. So you may have a kidding, of course, but I do wear colorful jackets sometimes. Okay. First, psychology. Psychology, yes, psychology is the study of cause-effect relationships. Okay, it's a study of cause-effect relationships. And I'm going to add something to study here. I'm going to add the word scientific. Scientific study of cause-effect relationships. That's a start. So psychology is a science. It's not an art. It's not, does not come from introspection regarding one's own feelings. It does not come from interpreting one's own dreams. It does not come from what no psychologist could do anyway, mental telepathy or read people's minds. It comes from collecting data, numerical scores on causes and numerical scores on their presumed effects, and looking at the effects of presumed causes on presumed effects. What are the causes of specific effects? And we need to do studies, just like biology is a science, and physics is a science, and chemistry is a science, psychology is a science, except our domain is not rocks, it is not trees, it is not leaves. It is not plants. It is not chemicals. It is human beings. How complex can you get but to study what causes human beings to do what they do? That's why I chose psychology, to get a PhD in psychology, because I was interested in it as a science. So it's a scientific study of cause-effect relationships. Cause-effect relationships. What do we mean by cause-effect relationships? Let me give you a few examples. What are the effects of media violence on aggression? Do children and adolescents who play more violent media games or video games, who watch more violent media, who observe graphic violence and sexual pornography, who watch violent movies, who live in a neighborhood where they see lots of violence, are these people more likely to be aggressive than people who watch much less media violence, who are exposed to much less internet violence, TV violence, video game violence? Does media violence cause aggression? Well, we need to attain a numerical score on how much media violence do you watch? Do you watch? From 1 to 10, or 10 to 50, or 12 to 91. Whatever the scale may be for the questionnaires, we need to obtain data on media violence. We also need to obtain data on aggression. How often, and your name again?
Carson.
Carson. How often does Carson go to school and hit people? How often does he slap people? How often does he punch people? How often does he call people names? How often does he say mean things behind people's back? How often does he gossip? We give him a questionnaire. He fills it out. His parents fill it out. We get numbers from that. We then ask a fundamental question. What are the relations between how much media violence Carson watches and how aggressive he is. My hypothesis might be the more media violence you watch, the more aggressive you are. Of course, another hypothesis, if we'll focus on this bidirectional problem too, might be more aggressive people choose to watch more media violence. So it's not that media violence causes aggression, it's aggression causes media violence. So we're going to look at issues of how to solve that, the chicken or the egg problem. Cause-effect relationships. Does being rejected by a parent, having a parent say, I wished you weren't born, I don't enjoy being your parent, I don't like you, you're annoying, I wish I could find someone to adopt you. If you feel a parent who leaves, who abandons you, or who rejects you through alcoholism or drug abuse, or is not there for you, is a person who goes through that kind of experience as a child more likely to have disturbed romantic relationships as an adult? Are they more likely to feel insecure, to be anxious, to cling tenaciously to others, to be possessive, to seek out men who treat them the same way their caregivers treat them? To say your dad treated you in a mean way, so you seek men who treat you the same way your dad did because you secretly, unconsciously want to fix him. You can't fix him, you can't go back to childhood and fix him, but maybe you can fix John Jones, the new boyfriend, who treats you the same way your mean dad did. So you tend to seek guys out that do the same thing to you. You reenact the worst fears of your own childhood. Does rejection by a parent lead to insecurity in relationships? A lot of research shows it does. There's abandonment in a relationship. Your father leaves you when you're 2 years of age. You never see him again. He never sent you a birthday card. He never sent you a Christmas card. He never calls. He never writes. You don't even know who your dad is. You wouldn't recognize him in an elevator. You wouldn't know it was Dad. Are you going to trust men? The first man that you shouldn't have been able to trust was your biological father, and your biological father was gone, abusing drugs, in jail, in prison, died, just left you. Are you going to be able to trust men in the same way someone grows up with a father who's loving and caring and giving and supportive? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, we're interested in that. The changes in brain chemistry. Suppose you don't have enough neurotransmitters to allow the millions and billions of neurons in your brain to electrically send signals from one neuron to another. You don't have enough dopamine, you don't have enough serotonin, you don't have enough acetylcholine, you don't have enough of these little chemicals that make your brain, does that cause you to be depressed? Does brain chemistry or a lack of neurotransmitters in your brain cause you to be depressed? A lot of psychiatrists and medical professionals think so. So what do? They give you pills. They give you antidepressants. They give you drugs. They give you drugs for anxiety because you don't have enough GABA. You don't have enough of a natural tranquilizer in your brain, or you don't have neurotransmitters for depression, so they give you neurotransmitters because they believe something wrong with your brain is causing you to be depressed and anxious. Well, it could be that being depressed and anxious causes something to be wrong with your brain. I mean, it could go both ways. In other words, if I don't want to do anything that used to be fun, if I think about killing myself, if I don't eat right, sleep right, think that I'm worthless, think all kinds of thoughts about how I'm not a good person anymore, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, and those types of things, that can influence my brain. So physiological processes like chemistry in your brain may cause depression, but depressive behaviors, emotions, and cognitions may also cause changes in brain chemistry. Which way does it go, chicken or the egg? You can't make a simple statement like psychiatrists like to do, it's brain chemistry, because it could go both ways. You're going to find that Dr. C, the master of teaching philosophy, will tend to debunk, that is reject, many iconoclastic theories, icons, things that are considered to be sacred, things that are considered to be true. Challenge, question, criticize. If challenge me, I'll like it when you raise a question and say, Dr. C, I don't agree with you. The more I know, the more I realize how much I don't know, because the knowledge in psychology is expanding at an exponential rate. There used to be 20 journals in psychology publishing professional articles. Now there may be 200 or more journals. There's no way one person can read all those, but I can look it up for you. That's why if you ask me a question, I won't psycho-valve you. I say, I don't know, but I'll look it up. And I get it to you the next class. I'll look it up. I'll find it. It's a scientific study of cause-effect relationships. I can go on and on with hundreds of causes. Just having a overprotective mother does things for you can do for yourself. Or turns on your bath water at 15. Monitors everything because she's afraid you might scald yourself. Tells you that the grass will give you allergies. That weeds will give you allergies. Bee stings will kill you. You know, all kinds of things. Is that going to make you anxious? Mm-hmm. Will overprotective mothers make you anxious? Cause you to be anxious? Well, anxious children cause their mothers to be overprotective. If you have a kid that's, Mama, I don't want to go in the elevator because I'm scared. I'm scared to go to church. There's people in there. I'm having a panic attack. Okay, sweetie, you don't have to go to church. You can stay home today. Does anxiety cause overprotectiveness in mothers and fathers? Or do mothers and fathers cause anxiety in children? Psychologists address all kinds of questions regarding cause-effect relationships, and we get numbers on each the cause and numbers on the effect. We look at the relations between the two using statistical procedures, which we'll talk about very simply in this course, because it's not a stat course. It's not a math course. It's a psychology course. Scientific study of cause-effect relationships involving 4 domains of human activity. We want to know what causes 4 domains of human activity. Psychology is a scientific study of cause-effect relationships. Involving. Taylor's going to have fun with that camera this semester, I'm serious. Involving 4 domains, 4 areas. Don't be fooled by the big word domains. I mean areas of human activity. Right? 4 domains of human activity. Starting with A. We are interested in what people do. What people do. Their behaviors. We are interested in their behaviors. That is what causes what people do. Behaviors are what we can observe directly, and there is very little inference involved in a behavior. If I see, and you don't mind giving me a name, Corey. And if I see you physically hit, let me say, Liz. If I see you physically hit Liz, I can observe you directly hitting behavior, right? Hitting, punching, kicking, slapping. I can decide, it's pretty easy to interpret that as aggressive behavior. If you turn in your papers in on time, it's something it's a behavior, something you're doing. If you smile a lot and are friendly, we can usually tell friendliness by observing how a person interacts with us. Do they initiate conversations? Do they smile a lot? Do they go, yeah, that's what you have to do to be a good student in my classes. Look at me, look like you're taking notes, have a book in front of you and do this. Good point, Dr. Stake. Good point. Camera, you know I'm kidding. What people do. This could be verbal behavior as well as nonverbal. I can hear you, if you yell at somebody and call them names, I can hear that. That's a behavior. If I hear you say, you're a really nice girl or woman, I can hear that compliment. Compliments, put-downs, contemptuous behavior, name-calling, provocative behavior where you say mean things to others are all forms of behavior. So behavior can be smiling, having sex, eating, running, walking, talking, anything that I can observe you doing. Usually I can't observe people having sex, but that's, there have been a few studies that have done that, but not many. But they ask you about it. They ask you about it. What people do. How about another domain of human activity, going to be what people think. What people think. And these are sometimes referred to as cognitions. Cognitions. Not behaviors, but cognitions. What do people think? I can't read your minds. I don't know what you're thinking right now. I don't know whether you're thinking Dr. C is crazy, or whether you're thinking I'm funny, or whether you think you're having a good time, it's going to be a good class, it's exciting. But as good a clinical psychologist as I am, as many people may be, I cannot read your minds. So with thinking there is an influence. I have to more or less ask you, what do you think? What do you think about I have to ask you about your self-esteem. How good a person are you overall? Or how good are you in school or in sports or in various activities that may add up to self-esteem? But I have to ask what you're thinking. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? How many people have heard those words, optimism and pessimism? Sure. And you know that people often differ pretty dramatically because we have tests of this. We have tests of optimism and we have tests of pessimism. And we find that people differ dramatically on those. An optimist, let's say you encounter a problem in life. We all encounter problems in life. Don't we? Don't we encounter problems in life? Yes, we do. I mean, I've encountered lots of problems over all my years. I've encountered problems in life. Do I see those problems as a pessimist? They're going to sink me. It's catastrophic. Catastrophic. It's going to sink me. I'm going to not be able to solve the problem. I'm going to get worse and worse. The glass is half empty. But an optimist might say, wait a minute, this might be a crisis that I'm going through right now, but it's also an opportunity to change. I once learned the Chinese character. You know how they write in pictures? The character for crisis also is the same character they use for opportunity in Mandarin, in Chinese. So when they write crisis, they imply that a crisis is also an opportunity to overcome that crisis. As Muhammad Ali, the former heavyweight champion of the world, once said, we're all going to face losses in our life. We're going to lose our mother. It's after he lost the first fight to Joe Frazier. We're going to lose our mother. We're going to lose people in life. It's how you cope with those losses that counts. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? Do you believe you can overcome problems? Do you believe you have the resources to do it? Do you believe you can learn from your mistakes? If you don't learn